Welcome to this explainer from Notebook Summaries. Today, we're diving into the history of a country that's smaller than most city parks, but its influence is felt by over 1 billion people around the globe. This is the story of how Vatican City, the world's smallest nation, was born.
So let's start with a number, 49 hectares. That's about 121 acres. Now, that number, that's the entire area of Vatican City. To give you some perspective, it's about 1/8 of the size of Central Park in New York. You could literally walk across the whole country in maybe 20 minutes.
And here's another number for you, its population. As of 2024, it's home to roughly 882 people. Yeah, that's it. This makes it the smallest sovereign state in the world, by both area and population. Most of the citizens are clergy, members of the Swiss Guard, or other people who work there.
Which, of course, brings us to the big question. How on earth did the global headquarters of the Catholic Church, a faith with over 1.3 billion followers, end up as this tiny, independent nation that's completely swallowed by the city of Rome? Well, to answer that, we've got to go way back, like 2,000 years back, long before St. Peter's Basilica was even a thought. Our story actually starts in ancient Rome, on a patch of land they called the Ager Vaticanus.
So, the name Vatican? It comes from this ancient territory, and let me tell you, it was not prime real estate. The Romans saw it as this dismal, kind of spooky swamp just outside the city walls. It was an unhealthy place, known for its really bad wine and its weird connection to an Etruscan goddess of the underworld. Not exactly a top tourist spot.
But that ominous reputation, it wasn't going to last. A series of really crucial events completely changed the game for this piece of land. Around AD 40, Emperor Caligula drains part of the swamp and builds this huge circus for chariot races. Then, just a couple of decades later, after the Great Fire of Rome, that same circus becomes a site of brutal Christian martyrdom under Emperor Nero. Christian tradition holds that this is the very spot where St. Peter himself was executed, crucified upside down. Fast forward nearly 300 years, and Emperor Constantine, the first Christian emperor, seals its sacred status forever by building the very first St. Peter's Basilica right over what was believed to be Peter's tomb.
So from this sacred ground, the power of the papacy just grew and grew. And for over 1,000 years, this power wasn't just spiritual, it was territorial. It created a kingdom that dominated the heart of Italy.
For centuries, the popes were basically kings. They governed the Papal States, this huge kingdom that covered a massive chunk of the Italian peninsula. This meant the papacy wasn't just a religious thing. It was a major political and military power in Europe. We're talking raising armies, making treaties, the whole shebang.
But then we get to the 19th century, and this 1,000-year kingdom is about to dramatically collapse. It leads to this decades-long standoff that would completely redefine the papacy forever.
As the movement to unify Italy swept across the peninsula, the new Kingdom of Italy saw the Papal States as the last piece of the puzzle. So in 1870, its army captured Rome, dissolving the Pope's kingdom and taking all the land. Italian unification was finally complete. And this created a huge political and religious problem. They called it the Roman Question. What do you do with a pope who's a spiritual leader but has no country to rule? He was basically just a citizen of the very same Italian kingdom that had just conquered his lands. And for the papacy, that was absolutely unacceptable.
This shift was just dramatic. The popes, starting with Pius IX, refused to accept this new reality. They wouldn't recognize the Italian king's authority, and in protest, they refused to ever set foot outside the Vatican compound. They declared themselves prisoners in the Vatican.
Can you believe it? This bitter stalemate lasted for almost 60 years? You had Italy and the Holy See, neighbors who literally refused to speak to each other. That is, until a historic agreement was finally hammered out.
The solution was the Lateran Treaty, signed on February 11, 1929. And the guys at the table were some pretty big names: Benito Mussolini, signing on behalf of the King of Italy, and Cardinal Pietro Gasparri, representing Pope Pius XI. This treaty is literally the birth certificate of the Vatican City we know today.
So, what did the treaty actually do? Well, here's the crucial part. It established Vatican City as a brand new, fully independent, and sovereign state. And get this, the treaty itself called Vatican City a new creation. This wasn't just a tiny leftover piece of the old Papal States. No, this was an entirely new entity designed specifically to guarantee the Pope's independence. Just like that, the Roman question was finally solved.
And this treaty is what created the Vatican City we know today, a truly unique microstate that plays a massive role on the global stage. One of its first major tests came during World War II. The Holy See decided to stay neutral. And even as Rome was occupied, first by German forces and then liberated by the Allies, both sides respected Vatican City's status as neutral territory. So how does a country with no income tax actually pay its bills? The Vatican's economy is one of a kind. It's mostly funded by donations from Catholics all over the world, plus money from its famous museums, and of course, the sale of things like postage stamps and souvenirs.
And all this kind of leads to a final thought, right? You have a state that's smaller than most city parks, with a population that wouldn't even fill a small concert hall. And yet, its leader is the spiritual head for over 1.3 billion people, and its government, the Holy See, has diplomatic ties with over 180 countries. It's truly a global superpower on a microscopic stage. So there you have it, from a Roman swamp to a global power. That's the incredible story of Vatican City. If you enjoyed this quick country history, why not explore another nation's story? Just click on our playlist. And hey, don't forget to subscribe to Notebook Summaries for more histories just like this one. Thanks for watching.